Hey everyone, it's Jeannie here, and today I am honored to be joined by Grammy Award-winning artist Jason Crabb. He is just legendary. He's been in this industry for so many years and has really made an impact for the kingdom in this world. Jason has a new EP, Just As I Am, and the music is so incredible.
Thank you.
He's in a new season, and I'm just excited to hear all about it. Jason, thanks for joining me.
Jeannie, thank you for having me on. I guess it's okay if I've got my bubble gum, right?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, most of the time when we do interviews, people say, first thing, they come at me with a napkin, and they didn't catch it this time. So
hey,
it's good
casual.
to be with you, honey. Thank you so very much for letting me be a part. Congratulations to you. We have to say that. We're excited about this little one. And that is so much. That's awesome. You're the one that's got a lot to talk about right now. But
you've birthed a baby. Yeah, you've birthed a baby recently too, your EP. Huh?
You kind of got to watch how you say that, especially in this day and time,
Oh dear.
No, I'm just messing. I'm just messing.
No, but you're kind of right, actually.
We Jay and I and Red Street Records, we have always, well, let's start here. Jay and I have been friends for a while. We've done a couple of things together. When he started this label, I came to him and I said, hey, I'm supposed to be there, blah, blah, blah. He said, you can't talk to me about that because I was in a record deal. And he said, figure that out. And you got to get clean of that because I can't do that. And so he was very, such an incredible guy. And so anyway, we got together and did this and worked through this and wrote songs before and during the pandemic. We did this record right in the middle of all of our dates being canceled. We wrote a song called Before, actually before the pandemic hit, which when you listen to the lyric of it, it's just crazy. God was just giving us lyrics for the days that we were going to be walking through. And we're still walking through it, and it's just crazy. So I know that this record is from the Lord. I know that he has something in store for it. I'm already feeling it because we're doing some of these songs out. We're getting ready to do one tonight, coming up on the Opry. So we're excited about that. We're going to put our boots on and go out there and sing one of these new songs.
Let's talk about that. You've been making music for many years, and I feel like the heartbeat of these songs, in a time where so many people are losing faith, in a time where people, maybe they're questioning God. There's an intimacy in your songs that is just, it's really precious. And I say this because you've been making music for so long, and you've been making music for the Lord for so long, that sometimes that intimacy kind of, dwindles, or it just kind of feels like, you're in the swing of making Christian or gospel music. But I totally believe and feel the songs are God-breathed. The themes of the songs are intimate. Talk about that, just kind of having God deposit that type of music for such a time as this.
Okay, so you quoted one of the scriptures that I absolutely love for such a time as this. Esther is one of my very favorite books of the Bible. I believe we are living in that day right now. All of the believers, people that love Jesus, people that, it's this moment. I feel like people's belief system is kind of in that moment of where they're questioning. Faith over fear is what the shirt says. And they're questioning. Their faith is being tried. It's being pushed. It's being pulled at, and there's a lot of heartache that's happened in this last little bit. And so now more than ever, especially you and I, Christian artists, we have to be in overdrive. We have to be telling, everyone, hey, look, God's got you and he's got this. And, just wrap our arms around them, love them. I think it is a very crucial time for believers, but I also think people that have never known Jesus, I think it's a crucial time because their hearts are sensitive. They're wondering as well. So there's two things that we have to be doing. We have to be evangelizing and preaching the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ and who he really is. Not what religion says he is, but who, grace and mercy and love and forgiveness and compassion says that Jesus is and who he really is. So I think we have to go preach that to the world. And then also that Jesus is our strong tower, our source of strength, our comfort in the time of hurt, our peace in the troubled days. That's who he is. That's who Jesus is. And so more than ever, I'm excited about being a Christian artist, but more than ever, I'm excited about being a Christian and being a believer and being a part of, the family of God. And I love to try to welcome people in. And, that's what we do with this music. One of the songs is I'm coming with a heart wide open. There's a song on there. It's called Heart Wide Open. I guess that's the title of it. And that's really what it says. Hey, I'm coming with a broken heart. I'm coming with a mess. I'm coming with my scars. I'm coming with everything. And that's what you want. I realize now that's really what you want. And right. You want me in my raw state. You want me in those moments. That's when real healing starts, So I'm excited more than ever before about being a child of God.
That's beautiful. Let me ask you, Jason, what keeps that fire burning for you?
Well, I don't know. I think my toes get a little close to the flames every now and then. No, I don't know. I really think about his goodness and about who he is.
Yeah.
The other day I was with a friend and he's been a friend for a little bit, but he's a very smart man. And we were talking about the Lord. We were talking about how people believe in the Big Bang Theory and evolution and different other things. And he goes, my manager and I, we were all sitting around. He goes, he said, if you took a great big box of dirt and you put a firework in it or a firecracker, an M80 or cherry bomb is what people my age back in the day, much older than you, put it in the box. And how many of them would you have to let off until something came alive inside that box? And truly, that's kind of what people say happened. I mean, I think, it's kind of not likely to happen. The truths of there being a great creator and how the hummingbird works, how its wings flap in a figure eight, not just up and down, but a figure eight. And its metabolism is so fast and it's so rapid. The bird is so smart that it sticks its beak in a flower and it can tell right then if it's enough sugar for it to survive. If it's not, it'll go to the next flower. And then at the end of the day, when it's to rest, if it was to fall asleep, it would die because its metabolism is so fast.
Wow.
That if God didn't design that bird, then there's no way that it would happen. And scientists would tell you this, but there's a little flap in the heart of that bird that clicks in when it's time to rest, that allows the bird to slow down and to be able to rest. And then when its eyes open back, its little metabolism goes and says, I have to go. And so it's just amazing how crazy we look at. I mean, you walk outside and you look up into the stars and you go, how can we doubt that there's a God? But we get so caught up in our circumstance that we lose vision on who he is. He never promised that it wasn't going to get tough sometimes, but I promise you, he'll be a friend that'll pull you through those tough days. We had a song
Yeah.
like it talks about that. It's called "Friend of the Fire" on this
Yeah.
EP that that talks about being in those trying moments, those faith wrenching moments where he pull you out of the fire. He'll be the fourth man if you need him to be.
Yeah. And, I think about 2020, which just felt like we were all in a blaze of fire the whole time. And, I heard just the stuff that you were doing in the midst of it, how you got in your car, the tours are canceled, your tour bus is parked, and you just get in your car with your, just you and your instrument, and you go into churches to help kind of revive people's spirits and the hope of Christ in them. How was that for you?
Honestly, it was one of the most refreshing things that I felt like, you used that scripture for such a time as this. I felt
Yeah.
like that was really a moment for me to, I was like, Lord, what are we going to do? How, every date that we have on the books is gone. I just bought a brand new bus. My old one that I'd had for many years had over 1,000,000 miles on it. And so we just put a brand new engine, transmission, done a bunch of stuff to it, and decided, you know what, this would be a good bus for someone, a family group, maybe that tours a little bit. So we really blessed a family with a good deal with that. And then we went and bought a new one. And it wasn't 9-10 months into it that this happened. And you're going, God, okay, I know this is not like somebody's saying, they're dealing with the physical sides of this, but
Right,
this
right.
is still a big deal for our ministry.
Of course.
This is a big undertaking for my family as well, my household, and so we're like, wait a minute, churches have been closed for a little bit, but now they're trying to reopen. How can we be a part of that without putting the burden of bringing the bus and the full band, full sound and all this stuff, because it takes so much to do that.
Yeah.
So a comedian friend and we said, hey, let's don't put a burden on the church. Let's just go tell them we're going to do a good night out and help them reopen their houses and theaters. We did 100 since September of last year. I've done about 190 days.
Wow.
I promise you, you will not find one person in this town that can say they did 190 days.
That's incredible.
From September to there. But it was the approach. You had to figure out the approach.
Right.
How can we help them? Not how do we help ourselves?
Right.
How do we help them? Which helps us.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating. You adapt and you overcome. And I think as Christians in these times, we don't know what's to come, all these legislations that are happening, all these things, we have no idea what's going to happen. I think following your example is a great, idea. Like, we need to really adapt, figure out how to still do what we're called to do. You still had the message of hope to go share with the world. And you went and did that. That's incredible. Do you have any kind of advice for anybody?
Well, I think that's one of the things that God has really called us to, is to each other. And, if you see a void somewhere, or you see an issue or a problem, here's the thing. I don't think God will bring it to your attention if he won't help you get it accomplished. It's not the God that we serve, you know what I mean? Especially if you do it in his name and for his glory. He's not going to let you fall on his face trying to do something for somebody else or for him. There are times when people say, I'm called to this, but really, is it for themselves, or is it for somebody else?
Right.
And you can never go wrong with helping somebody else. I promise you, never. You cannot help somebody more than what God will bless you. I'm just telling you.
No.
A principle that I've learned 27 years, and I'm not saying it's a name it, claim it kind of thing at all. I'm just saying the blessings of God. Here's the thing for me. One thing that I do know, I can't make you like me. As hard as I could try, I could sing songs to the best of my ability. But you know what that makes the difference is God gives you favor, me favor with you. And when God does that, then you see me the way that God sees me. And I
Wow.
see you the way God sees you. And the favor of God is so important on our lives. You know, it that's what makes connections. That's what helps people. And that's what's helped my ministry through the years. Now, I don't know, some pastors might say, I don't know about that theology. God doesn't have respect of persons. That is true. But I will say this, there's a little favor every now and then that'll be sprinkled out, especially if you're really trying to do his work.
Right.
And I pray for that. I'm like, Lord, let people see my heart for you. And when that happens, I get favor with people.
Yeah.
And
And
so
the
I think
truth
that's
is,
important.
yeah, as you lift him up, he says he draws all men unto himself.
Right.
So it's the principle of what you're doing that's attracting, that.
That's all that we can pray for. It's like, Lord, you hold the keys to it all. It's like what David said when he was leaving and they were after him. And matter of fact, it was his own son that was trying to overtake him and take his kingdom. And he was leaving and they said, somebody get and one of the ministers, he said, get the Ark of the Covenant. I'm going back after the Ark of the Covenant. We're taking it with us. And he said, no, no, no. He said, leave it for them. He said, if God be for me, he'll be with me. And if he's not, have mercy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so he knew that if God wasn't with him, it didn't matter. But if he wanted to be with him, he would. And so that's kind of the way life is.
Yes. People know you for your music. You're one of the youngest people ever to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in Kentucky. We know that you're passionate about this type of ministry and this place where you've lived beautifully for so many years, but starting with your family, the Crabb family, and then going
Oh,
solo
yeah.
and all this. But what's something that you're probably passionate about that we don't know about you, or something that's in that heart of yours that God has given you that maybe we don't know?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing that I don't know. I love to speak. I love to. I don't like to speak when I don't feel like God's giving me something to say. You
Right.
know what I mean? Um, but it's so funny. God had me digging in the Word here recently. I was driving the truck and got hooked up on this, Amalek and and I just started studying about his nature. And people ask, say, if God is so gracious, why did he instruct Saul to completely wipe out a whole generation of people? Well, I got to wondering that. And I got to looking and just digging. And the next thing you know, man, I found out so much, all the way to even World War One and Two, through
Wow.
digging of the nature of Amalek. His dad was one of the ones that sat in front of Job and pointed the first one to speak to Job while he was going through everything he went through. You know what he said? He said, what sin's in your life?
Yeah.
He pointed at him with a religious spirit and said, you must have sin in your life or you wouldn't be going through this. And that was Amalek's father.
Wow.
And the Amalekites were the very first ones, that group of people were the very first ones to attack the children of Israel when they first came out of bondage. And they didn't attack the front, but they attacked the weak. In other words, they attacked the back. If you do some study on it, they attacked the back of the crowd that was leaving. It's the ones on the stretchers, the ones that were feeble, the oldest, the ones that were very vulnerable, they just attacked them for no reason. It wasn't like they were trying to get land. It's just that was their nature. And I found that nature to be flow all the way through the book of Esther, Mordecai, and Haman. Haman came from the genealogy
Wow.
of Amalek. He was the one. What did he want to do? Wanted to destroy the Jews. And when they attacked Israel, the children of Israel, Moses told Jacob after they had fought with them, he said, "We're always going to be strive with them."
Yeah.
And I learned, and this is fast forward, but Kaiser Wilhelm was the emperor of Germany and Prussia during the time of World War I. He was one of the ones that led that. Over 10 million people's lives were taken during that time. Now, he wasn't responsible for all of them, but he was responsible for a lot, to a place to where he had to leave town. But 13 years before he went into battle, he went to the Holy Lands. And he went in. Now, I did a 4-month in-depth study on this.
Wow.
He went to the Holy Lands, and he was to meet with a rabbi there, a famous rabbi that was trying to teach conservative Jewish theology and keep it alive. And he was going to meet with him. And the rabbi saw him, and he said, "I can't meet with you." And he goes, "Why?" He goes, "You remind me too much of Amalek." Now, Kaiser did that. Of course, we know what happened after Kaiser was fled to, I can't remember. I think it's anywhere in Newfoundland or I can't remember. So don't quote me on that part. But what happened next? Hitler came into power.
Yeah.
Who did he go after?
Jesus. Wow.
The
The
Jews.
Jews. Yeah. It's like the spirit of the age just continued.
It's the same devil that we are fighting. It's the
Right.
same enemy. It's just we live in different moments and times and seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But Satan hasn't changed.
Mm.
He's still after God's people.
Yeah.
And we have to know that. So anyway,
Yeah.
I love to speak. Sorry, that's
incredible. Well, no, it's incredible because I would have never thought that you would be doing in-depth studies that way anyway. So it's incredible just to see how deep you get into it and how passionate you are. And I'm pretty sure it's part of just what God is doing in you for this season, for this time, to be that voice, that we need.
It's really rare for me in this, because after I called my brother and I said, "Hey, I've got a word for the church. I've got to come share it." After I shared it, my family was there and they all came up to me and go, "Who are you?" And they were like, "Where did this come from?"
Wow.
Because, I'm that ADD,
You're an artist. You're creative. I get it. I'm like that, so I get it. But hey, when God is doing something in you.
That sucked me in so deep.
Wow.
It's amazing. I could go so far with that and tell you, but someday we'll sit down and we'll just discuss that, because it's a very powerful word. I found some enlightenment on the nature of why. I look now and go, Saul was instructed to carry them out, wipe them out. Okay, so Haman, right? Saul didn't take them all out. He kept the king, which was Agag, King Agag. Haman was a descendant of Agag. So you go, Esther in that whole people had to go through that because they didn't do what God had told Saul to do. So, it's just the craziest thing in the nature and the timing and all that. Maybe one day I'll write a book about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like God has birthed it in you. You definitely, there's something Powerful there. Well, I'm looking forward to the preacher, Jason Crabb, coming to a town near you.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Crabs coming to a town near you, Lord help.
Yes. So, where do you think, saying all that you just said, where do you think we're headed?
Here's where I think we're headed. I think that, how many times have we heard in our lifetime, you and I, because we're believers, how many times have we gone to church and said, the Lord's coming, it's getting closer,
Right.
it's getting
Right.
closer, it's getting closer.
Right.
I remember a time in my life when I was going, but God, I want to see my grandbabies. I want to see my children, grow to do great things. Lord, I don't want to be selfish. You know what I mean? I'm excited about seeing you, Lord.
Yeah.
Right? I'm excited about seeing your face. But in anybody that says that they have never said that, I have to watch them. You know what I'm saying? Because there's something that God has given us such great love for people, and He's placed love down inside of our hearts for others in the life that He has given them. Sometimes it's hard to say goodbye to that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But now, in this day, in this hour, I've never heard more than ever in my life people say, come on, Lord, come quickly.
Come, yeah.
Come on, come Jesus, come get us. We're hurting, we're weary. Here's what I'm going to say. What's ahead for us? I think there's a great revival that is on the rise. I think there's a great revival that is sweeping this country. You might say, well, it's some dark days, but what shines the brightest in a dark time?
Yeah.
The light. Light dispels darkness every time. Every time. I don't care how dark it is. You turn a light on, and guess what? Darkness has to give way to that light. And I think that's what I've been really praying for here lately. I pray that. I'm like, God, do something so miraculous. Yeah. So incredible that it's almost a direct choice to say, no, I will not serve the Lord, even though I know there's a God. You know what I mean? Yeah. Such a distinct, incredible miracle. Wow. I know I shouldn't. Maybe I know that it's faith, but I've been praying for God to maybe it's revival. Maybe, I don't know what it is. But, there's little tents popping up everywhere, with these revivalists, preaching the word. And right. I saw, I think I saw the other day, I was with We the Kingdom. Do you know We the Kingdom? Yeah. And I was sitting there watching him and his family on that stage, and boy, they get after it. I'm telling you, they have a fantastic time. And I was watching kids, and I was watching parents, and I was watching grandparents enjoy the same music. And I walked up to Ed, and I walked up to his family, Ed Cash and his family. And I had tears streaming down my face. And I said, let me tell you something. God's called you to bring the Jesus movement back to this earth. Wow. And it's y'all that I feel like He's put that mantle on. And he went, yes. Wow. And I told him, and I said, and I want to be on the bus with you when you go do it. Oh, that's right. I know that's right. But I'm telling you, they got something special. That's something different. I'm very proud of them. Yeah. And it's incredible. I do think what we've all been through in the past year has forced us all to kind of relook at how we do church, how we do ministry, how we, what's really in us. Are we doing it for the paychecks, or are we doing it because people need this hope that we have? So I feel like there's been a readjustment that's been forced upon us that we really needed. There's a realigning, like you said.
Yeah.
Of course we have to work to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
able to take care of what we do.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the problem is sometimes the blessing comes right through the work. And then we feel that we have to,
And we idolize.
it's us that we're doing and we have to do it and we have to do it. And then all of a sudden we have to realign things and go, wait a minute, God, I have to depend wholly on you. That's the favor
Yeah.
that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
This goes great. So I have to depend on you. I have to lean on you. You are the giver of everything good in my life. You give it. Everything bad, I have to take credit for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're right.
Well, Jason, I am so grateful that God is using you in these times still. And I love Just As I Am. I can't wait for everyone to just really grab a hold of the music and get into it. I know you're working on Christmas music too, so we're excited for that. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Listen, I am so pumped. Oh my goodness. I don't even know how to describe. It's been so much fun doing this Christmas record. Um, I, I'm pumped, excited. There's a piece of me that's a little sad. There's a guy that started this record with us. His name's Tim Akers, and he did all the arranging of the music, the actual music, and about halfway in the middle of it, he passed away, and just went into the hospital. Complications started happening. It wasn't COVID. It was just, he had been through a lot. A cancer had kicked back, and in the matter of just weeks, he was gone. And I just talked with him, just sit with him right before he went back in. And so my heart is hurt, but I am thankful to the good Lord that he allowed us to get to work together on this project. We talked about the Lord. We talked about his goodness. We talked about how awesome that he was in his life, how that he restored his life, and good moments. So I'm excited. There's some songs that he wrote, was a part of writing on this as well. So it's pretty heavy. It's pretty big. So I'm excited, and it's full orchestration.
Wow, can't wait.
Really about it.
Well, and you know what we need? It's just like we need Christmas. We need this music. We need the joy, the healing that comes with the season.
December the 25th, when we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, you'll have a little baby boy in your hand. How cool is that?
That's amazing. Yes.
He'll be probably wrapped in something besides swaddling clothes, don't you think?
Yes.
But what? I'm doing an in-depth study right now on the day during the birth of Jesus.
Wow.
God's got me wrapped up in that now, and it's so funny. I go so deep and down so many trails. It's like, okay, Jason, come back to what's going on here. So I'm excited about it. I really am, and I'm excited for your house. This is going to be such a cool Christmas for you.
Yes, it's going to be the best ever. Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much. I'm like holding my breath. Yes.
You'll have to send me a picture.
We will. We'll send you the family picture. It'll be with all of us.
Even a little manger underneath the tree. Get you a little picture.
Oh, well, Jason, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Your heart for the
honey.
Lord. It's beautiful.
This has probably been one of my very favorite interviews that I've ever had the opportunity to do.
Wow.
You're very, 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 very sweet. And you can tell God's got his hands on your life. And I just pray the blessings of God over your home, over your little boy, and over your ministry.